Hey, good morning. Bye, Jumanji. Pretty early here in the UK, 10 to 7. Bye, Jumanji. I'm getting feedback. Pretty early here in the UK, 10 to 7. I don't know if you guys can hear that though. I'm getting feedback. Testing them live. Yeah, best time of the day for me. Best time of the day creatively. I wish I did have time to stream later because it's definitely better for interaction and for the channel. It's quite frustrating actually that I don't really ever get time to do it in the evening. And by the time I get to that point in the day, I'm usually exhausted. So, okay, we're going to make the best of it. And this morning I'm going to be listening back to ideas I started. I've been starting since January, if not before. So, I had a gig on Friday. I've had a couple of gigs recently and things to prepare for musically like that. I had a release. Seems like I've just been kind of doing stuff that isn't actually working on tracks other than starting them. So I think the time has come to choose what we're going to work on next. What I'm going to take forward. So I don't have much time this morning. Now, I did when I first woke up, but I'd like to say thanks to my patrons. There's been some new people recently. I'll just give them a quick shout out. I think Flavio, Tim, Marcel, James. Oh, I've got you on here. Yeah, Marcel Appleman. Thanks very much. I've seen, know you've been on in the chat before on streams and stuff. If you're interested in Patreon, supporting the channel, or just getting the swag that's on there, links in the description. Okay, let's move over. Good morning. Here we are. The Grain Forest again. It's really good for this kind of intro music, ambient intro music. Just through some effects and stuff. So here's my Trello board. Whenever I work on an idea, I bounce it out at the end. I always do a quick bounce. And at that point, it goes into a folder, which is called splurges. I mean, essentially, these are sketches. They're free sketches. You work on a track, you come up with some kind of idea. Could be anything, could be an 8-bar loop. You export the idea, goes into a folder. That folder knocks a little automation that pours into Trello. So it's a Zapier automation. I'm sure you might have heard of Zapier. I think I've shared my Trello board on Patreon before. Just a link to it. And these and it creates a card. And I did have it so that the track would go onto the card, but now I no longer have that just because it makes the board enormous with all of these MP3s on it. and I can literally just check back into the folder where I've got them and kind of work with the file in here and then move the card around. So essentially this is, you know, a process, a framework for moving tracks forward. So I'm going to listen back to them now. If I want to work on them, I'll move them either into Discover, Draft, unlikely Done. Essentially, Discover is, I'm going to do some more ideation on it. Draft is, it has all the parts, and I know what it's going to be. Done is when there's kind of a, I'm ready to decide if I want to release it or not, and then release is the final finishing touches. I could probably tidy some stuff up here. Like, that is definitely, that's done. Want to Die remix, I definitely want to finish it. I definitely want to release all this stuff as well. I've been promising people these tunes for ages, so I think I'll probably just put them on Bandcamp and everything. Bandcamp, Spotify, all that stuff. Right, these guys, I'm just going to... So you can move things in and out of different... You know, it's not destructive. I've got various labels and everything set up. Again, you can see it on Patreon. If you search... I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a podcast by Mike Monday, the guy who I stole this off, and I can't remember what it's called, but he essentially gives away the template on Trello, so it's really useful. Lifestyle Express. Okay, so we're going to listen back to them. We're going to decide if we want to shelve them for now, if we want to move them on in the process. And this can be quite revealing for you to hear the kind of things that, well, just hear the mix of kind of quality, length, type of idea. You know, there's no... These are all back from January, so like I have listened back to some of them, I must admit, but a bit throaty this morning. So probably all the excess at the weekend. Right, let's go for it. I'm going to listen back. If we want to move it on, we move it on. If we don't, I can bookmark it, put this little yellow label next to it so that I know that it's potentially of interest. And I've got a few of these back here. All these old labels. All this music. Never going to finish it. And that's fine. You're never going to finish everything you create. But I have finished a fair amount this year, you know, and had releases and stuff. I'd finish more if I had more time, for sure. Although maybe it would just expand to fill the time. Okay, so Lifestyle Express, let's go. Yeah, named after the convenience shop in the UK. So I do listen to the whole thing as well, completely. So it's going to take us a bit of time to get through all these tunes, but... Okay, I think we've heard enough that I am... Sometimes the very first thing that I've listened back to after ages, I get like, I should probably bookmark it or something, but actually I'm just going to sketchbook it. Yep. And I've probably got it in here as well. I'm just going to sketchbook it from here. I'll do that. Okay. Overclock. So I like some of the parts in these tunes, you know, chords or maybe some of the bass sounds or breaks. But really now at this point it's got to kind of like stop me in my tracks a little bit. Okay, yeah, probably heard enough of that one as well. No. Not really feeling... Well, it's not even that I'm necessarily feeling that one, I can't. I don't want to work on it. It's a choice. Okay. System failure. Okay, I like the chords in that. I like that kind of how it starts. I might bookmark that. I'm going to bookmark that one. Okay, I'm still just going to move it over to Sketchbook. Okay, Astrophone. Doing that. Go away. Astrophone, sketchbook. What else did I put? Didn't I put? Okay. This is why I have a system like this. Just because, like, if you're creating this many ideas and stuff, you need to have a way of organising them, or it's overwhelming. War Island. Now, from memory, I don't think I have listened to this before. So I think one thing, just talking through the thoughts that I'm having, is that I think so I have a tendency to write quite melodic, chordal driven music. That's perhaps often quite anthemic, or maybe not even anthemic, but melancholy. A lot of it sounds a bit like Bicep or something, and I consciously don't want to be doing that. So, like, although I listen back to an idea like that and I think, yeah, I could probably make that into something finished. I just don't want to, and I've got loads of other ideas at the moment. So let's just keep going and sketchbook that. It's like kind of like that. It's got that kind of hooky idea and stuff, and some nice chords underneath, and a breakbeat, a kind of groovable 135 or something. But I'm just not. I just know that's not going to hold my interest really. That's the kind of thing I'd rather do in a jam session, and just jam the idea out pretty quickly, than spend my time developing at the moment really. So. The excellently named Love Hammer. I don't know where these titles come from. again, we've got kind of similar thing happening here. No criticism of that sound. It's just kind of how we doing? They do, don't they? They've got that kind of a very similar timbre. I think that's from the Spitfire original pads or cinematic pads. I am going to bookmark that one. I'm going to bookmark that one because the chords change key slightly, or there's a slight modulation. That's quite interesting. Global time, okay. That's quite interesting, and I might decide to work on that global time. Okay. I haven't got too much longer left. There's quite a fair amount of 140 in dubstep as well, and so these are very first ideas. So they do sound all over the place, but that's fine. Hey Darren, how you doing? No, we'll just sketchbook that one. Okay, bit copy. So my feeling with that one was probably like kind of like the kick sound. That sounded pretty good. But like nothing was kind of really that kind of floaty. Again, with all of these, like if I had to work on all of them, I could think of things that I might want to develop, but I'm cherry picking the very best things here. If we end up with like 5 things we're taking forward from 100 splurges, that's kind of what I'm looking to be doing. Bit copy. So some of these have all these like random noises going over that I'll just be like. Baldwin, how did you... Rain City Sounds, I should say. How did you do the exponential rhythm in this one? That was in Wavetable, where you have... it's like a looped envelope and a... that is going to an LFO, which is kind of on a ramp or something like that. So the envelope is like getting really long and then getting really short again. So it's a bit like if you had an ADSR and you had no sustain, very short decay, or you had full sustain and very short release. So and that is being modulated by an LFO, either the release or the decay, depending on how you set it up, and it gives this kind of like I think I might on Patreon the latest bass dump wavetable bass thing. There's lots of sounds in there that are doing that. I think including that kind of sound as well. Yeah, that one. I think I called it something like Shai Hulud, like the sandworm from June. Right, I know that one, right, as janky as that sounds, I want to work on that, because like that's got... I'm going to put that in Discover, because I would just like to... I'm going to add some bits to it, just do a kind of sketch on a sketch if you get me. Right, so that's the first... There we go, we've got the first one. Let's move that into Discover. Yeah, have a look on that. All the wavetable basses, I've done very similar things to that. I should, like, another video idea, really. I'm absolutely... My journal is full of little video ideas I want to do after. I don't know if anyone saw that Ableton picked up the last Amen one I did. Posted it on their Facebook, which was really cool. Okay, we've probably got about 15 more minutes, so Bloom. Nope. Okay, that one's going in the sketchbook. Bloom. Sketchbook. RCS. I have. This is the exponential rhythm kind of idea on here, I think. So the envelopes, I think it's envelope 2, has loop on, and if we go into the matrix, envelope 2 release is being modulated by envelope 3, which is looped as well. So when you have lots of these looping envelopes as well as LFOs going, like on the attack or the sustain, you can get these kind of crazy exponential, like when you spin a coin and it gradually gets slower and slower. That kind of thing, isn't it? Like a spinning top or something. You can do this. You can do a similar thing in Operator as well, but Wavetable has more modulation options. Okay, so that one was that Bloom. Nothing in that particularly. It's quite frustrating. Well, like some of them, and you have to get good at kind of hearing past things, because some of them have the most annoying sounds in that I don't know where I've got them from. Swan song. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's like great at certain moments. It's really, and that's the kind of thing I want to be doing more of at the moment. I don't necessarily want to be doing chords, melody, cool, catchy thing, and some drums and everything. I kind of want to be exploring new things, really, you know. Again, you know, it's kind of like I like the drums, I like the but maybe it's a bit all over the place, and I just can't. I'm gonna sketchbook it. Well, this sounds like Scream or something. Sounds like the Midnight Request line. think I'm going to avoid things where I've kind of ended up sounding like, where I've sounded like someone else. That's fine, you know. I just don't. I don't want to. Yeah. Blue X. Hey Lee. Yeah, I've got. Me too. I think like now there's like. I suspect people on hit like, I don't know if you know Leo Cap, but just see some of his stuff on Instagram, and I think one of the best things you can do as an artist is explore making new music, or different types of, take your slant on things. And dubstep's something I've never really like made or kind of like, I always wanted to crack the kind of bass sound design stuff, like the and really I think it is just experimentation and kind of, stumbling on interesting, the kind of building blocks are quite simple really, but yeah, me too. And I hear a lot of it from friends and stuff like that, and yeah, it's exciting because I've never really done it before. So have you been on his Patreon at all, Lee? What I like about him actually is like his variety as well. I always admire anyone that can kind of, just that's got voices that sit across different genres. Ewan, thanks. I always find myself trying to make what other producers have already made and never really just sit down and let my creativeness get to me. So I love listening back to ideas. Yeah. That is a really interesting yeah. I find I struggle with exactly the same thing. It can be really hard to get out of the mindset of, yeah, but I want it to sound like this track. And I remember being back in bands, and we'd be writing together in practice and everything, rehearsal. And quite often it would be like, yeah, but we want it to sound like this and this. And it's good. I think touch points are good and references are good, especially when you're having to communicate musical ideas to other people. But I think really, it's about finding your own voice, isn't it? And it's tricky. I think that the way I handle it is I write loads and loads and loads of ideas to the point where I'm bored of what I'm doing, and I just keep, and I find this kind of leaving it a long time before I listen back to stuff is actually a really good way to kind of you get really good good clarity on listening back to your ideas as to when you've just copied someone else. And I think it's fine to do that and have archetypes and stuff and use references, and you've got to have influences, it's just like you can either consciously decide to just know it sounds too much like this person, so I'm not gonna carry on with it. Or you can just keep copying and eventually there's a good quote that's like copy, and at the end you'll find yourself or something. So Lee, yeah, talking about Leo Cap, I'm not on his Patreon. I do believe he dabbles in D&B. He does, and he does some really cool garage stuff as well. Just his productions always sound like, oh, sick. Okay, I kind of like the operatic singing that's going on there. I think that's a patch from Spitfire, extended voices or something. And I kind of like the breakbeat and the big. That's quite cool. There's some nice, but as a piece, as a potential piece of music, it's just like, I don't think I'm sketchbooking it for now. In fact, I'm not gonna I don't want to bookmark it. There's nothing particularly that would draw me back to that. Like I think I'd rather just use my memory to have to know that. Well, I think anyone would know that like vocals and bass lines and sick drums are gonna a pretty good blueprint for a track. Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap up now because I've got to dash and do the school run. So yeah, we're starting to go back through tracks now. Let's have a look, just a quick look at what we're saying on here now. Okay, 89. So we've listened back to like 10 or so. I'm gonna keep doing these. I really want to do them all on stream so people can just see my way of thinking about what I'm going to move forward. And yeah, I don't want it to be irritating watching back and being like, when did he decide to work on those ones? Ewan, just before I go, yeah, I think what's helped me is you can always hear in music today, artists are expanding and getting super creative. Ski Mask is such a good example. Yes, you know, and this is the kind of, that's the paradigm, isn't it? Like originality. And I think it just comes from constant experimentation, constant awareness of what you're doing as well, and that you know, are you crafting? Are you looking to recreate, or are you looking to innovate? Are you looking to be? And really, the only way you can do that is just by absolutely being true to what it is you want to hear, even if you know, there has to be some kind of reference. There has to be some kind of it has to be grounded in the world we live in and make sense. And you know, you could break down Ski Mask's music and say a lot of it does have that. You know, it has, but his voice comes through in it still. Yeah, no, there's a lot of love for Ski Mask in here for sure. And yeah, you know, like he's the kind of music it's like him, Object, Aphex, Square Pusher, you know, these people who and there's loads more, Goldie, you know, the people you could listen to a track and be like, yeah, this sounds like Goldie, or this sounds like Ski Mask, or this sounds like that's the holy grail, really. And that's the kind of thing that you should be saying to yourself as a producer, you know, how do I sound like me? How do I sound more like me? rather than how do I sound more like, you know, someone else. How do I make this, you know, there's it's a balance between, yeah, having music that makes sense to people who are hearing it and doesn't just sound like it's been created in a completely different reality. But then there's also got to be your voice. There's got to be you know, and we can all only a handful of us can be the best, or only a handful of people can be the best. But everyone can be original. You know, everyone can be themselves. Anyway, I'm gonna have to sign off now, people. Thanks everyone for coming in the chat this early. It's really appreciated. Good to see so many of you here. I'm going to sign off now. Have a great day. We'll carry on listening to some more splurges back on the next stream, and I'll see you around. All right, cheers everyone. Thanks very much.